Of this year's Hellas Rally Raid. Over 260 competitors from 35 countries around the globe are going to be racing on 2 and 4 wheels across 2,000 kilometres of beautiful Greek countryside. I think they can tell we're not in Greece.
I don't know, it's hard to describe it. You just sort of, it's upsetting.
A lot of work and prep, a lot of late nights have gone into the car, and just to see it end up the way it did was very soul destroying.
But yeah, obviously, we're all passionate here, being a small family team, so it hurt a lot.
It was a massive personal achievement for myself, the team, everybody involved. It's been a huge, huge effort. And then obviously, race 2 happened.
Last one, you can do it, right?
Yeah, we'll get it out. She'll be whizzing on the track very shortly.
What an incredible 2 rounds of touring car racing we have watched right here at Silverstone in the opening rounds of the Goodyear Touring Car Trophy and TCR UK Racing Championship. Make sure that you tune in to watch the entire season right here on Is It Fast?
Results Hub. All motorsport results, all in one place. And now there's an app. Take results with you on the go as we bring you the latest standings from championships around the world. And there's more. Use the app to see who is racing and where with our handy calendar feature. Download the app now. Results Hub. All motorsport results, all in one place.
Oh, what a week it's been. Welcome to Is It Fast Live, the weekly magazine show from Is It Fast, where we take together our top most favourite news pieces from the world of cars and motorsport. But lucky for every one of you at home watching live and after the fact, I can say that myself and other Stu, we're not running out of anything this week. Other Stu, how are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely superb as usual. I've had my energy drink. I've got my asthma inhaler just to the side of me. So ready for this high octane, breathtaking podcast. Cannot wait.
That sounds like a lot of words that is writing a check that we might not be able to cash. But
yeah, but they don't know this right now. They're going to have to listen to hear us fade out terribly.
That's true. That's true. We do generally start strong and fade out as the day goes on. So enjoy that, viewers. This is going to be great. What an awful lot has happened this week. And as I said at the top of the show, we handpick our favourite news pieces and stories from all over the globe, from the world of cars, trains, planes, motorsport, and much, much more. And I'm guessing everybody might want to know what we're going to talk about this evening. Don't you think, Stu?
I think so. Yeah, give them an idea of what they're in for.
Yeah. And boy, are they in for it. This week, I can confirm that we haven't run out of fuel as we bring you news that you can now have a new friend in the form of the Citroen Ami. Petrol stations are running dry. That's going to be a topic of conversation today. It's hard to avoid. And Sir Lewis. Rise for Sir Lewis of Hamiltonshire as he breaks new ground and wins much more things than I think anyone thought was humanly possible. So we have this and much, much more from the world of motorsport, the world of cars, and of course, like we have every week, the world of watches, which is a nice little attachment to what we do every single week. So if you're all ready at home, you're ready and you're willing and you're able, strap in, and prepare for the ride of your life. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, if you are watching us on a social media platform, do consider following us on that social media platform of choice to make sure that you keep up with not just the live show that we do every single week, but also the live motorsport highlights and original documentary and other interesting programs right here on Is It Fast TV and Is It Fast podcasts. Now that I've sold us in a very natural and non-script read way, shall we move on to story number 1?
Well, I'm delighted to figure out what's going to be on this podcast. You've sold it so well. Let's go ahead.
Sold to the lowest bidder. This week, it was announced by our favorite French company. They're all our favorites. The Citroen Ami is here. The Citroen Ami is an electric quadricycle. That is an important description. And it's going to go on sale in the UK next year. It was originally penned to only be for sale in France and in Europe. But as soon as they said that, actually, we've changed our minds, you can have the Ami. That's a lot of people. So the order books were officially opened, and you can put a deposit down of just £250. And that means that you can secure yourself a Citroen Ami. It is designed for city driving. It's all electric. It's the wrong hand drive for this country. I can never remember if that's right or left hand drive. Great motor journaling here. But because it's so tiny, they don't actually have to change where the steering wheel is, which I thought was quite an interesting thing because you're the same either side near enough. Top speed of 28 miles an hour. It's got a range of 43 miles, but to be fair, it's designed for nipping down to your local co-op or other delicatessen or grocery store. You do need to have a full driving license in order to drive this, even though it is technically a quadricycle. And I don't know what the difference between a quadricycle and a car is, but there's a difference. But in other European countries, you can have one of these and drive it from the age of 14. Terms and conditions apply. Isn't that a terrifying thought? But there we go. God. The Citroen Ami is coming to streets near you. How do we feel about this?
I don't know any self-respecting 14-year-old that would actually like to be in one of these things. I don't think this car is actually from Citroen. I think it's actually from Duplo. This looks absolutely mental. Yes, okay, $6,000 for a brand new car, something else, but you are going to look like Noddy.
Yes.
You and again, they're telling us. The good people at Citroen are telling us over 12,000 people in the UK have registered an interest for this. This is why we need carbon monoxide detectors in every home. There's something wrong out there. As you're going to say, that the range of 46 miles that it can get. There's also another option. It's a great big hand that comes out of the sky and just pulls you back until you stop hearing the clicking, and then it can just go. The interior of it genuinely makes a bumper car look about as spacious and well equipped.
It's a basic.
Not a fan. Yeah,
you're not. I'm picking that up. That you're not a fan. The Citroen Ami, definitely, you can definitely tell when cars are made for specific, specific markets. There's cars that are available all over the world that never see the shores here. Kind of feel like this might be one of them, if I'm honest. I like it. I just don't think they're gonna sell any more than they already have done. I kind of just think it's the end of the road for the Citroen Ami. And for those of you who aren't Francophiles and don't speak French, the word Ami means friend, which I quite like. I think the Citroen friend is quite nice,
Oh, I thought they just misspelled Amy.
I mean, that would be what a marketing gaffe that would be if they just misspelled Amy. That'd be amazing. But the Citroen Ami,
Mr. Citroen's named it after his girlfriend. And
very lazy, Mr. Citroen. Citroen, of course, no, go on.
No, you know what? I get what you're saying about being the end of the road for these type of cars. But we also said that when the smart cars came in, there was a lot of jokes going around that you can get a real car for this kind of money, but they were very popular. And they still exist. Obviously, smart cars are probably now the random size of a Ford Fiesta, but
Yeah,
when they came on the market, they were kind of toy cars or thought of as.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
that is true. I will give you that. This is actually quite a good successor to at least that mindset. The difference is you plug it in. So there you go. The Citroen Ami. We know as a car community, it's been around for around about a year, maybe 9 months. They started letting people drive them in the press community, and they said it's not going to come to the UK. And now they've said it is coming to the UK. Give us 250 quid, and you can guarantee yourself a build slot, and then we'll ask you for £6,000. We think it's going to be once it goes out. But tell us in the comments, what do you think of the Citroen Ami? Is this super EV, the super mini EV, what you want in your life? 40 odd miles of range, 28 miles an hour, roughly speed limit. Perfect for driving directly into Topshop, picking up what you need and leaving at the same time. Topshop doesn't exist anymore. I'm really showing my age. But there we have it. Super minis for the next generation. The world becomes a scary, scary, scary place indeed. But the fact that we do have quite a host of electric options probably isn't a bad thing right now, given that you may have noticed the UK is in a little bit of a sticky situation when it comes to filling your standard diesel or petrol or otherwise dinosaur juice fueled car around the place. We're in the middle of a fuel shortage in the United Kingdom. This is footage taken from the Telegraph newspaper. Didn't realize newspapers had video, but there we go. But the fuel pumps are running empty. Not quite sure if this segment's going to be a rant or if it's just going to be a enlightening conversation about how we all need to come together as a society. But it looks like...
Do we rant on Is It Fast?
I mean, it's been known. So the common media are calling this panic buying. I think I'm going to start calling it forced consumption because everybody feels like they need to buy it rather than we have to buy it, otherwise we'll die, which is kind of how I feel panic buying is, But yeah, the fuel pumps allegedly between 50 and 90% across the space of the last 3 or 4 days of all petrol stations have been dry, empty, nothing more, nothing less. And it's been a cause of quite a bit of concern, as you can imagine. It's hard not to get angry about this. If your car's got 3/4 of a tank in it, you don't need to fill it up, mate. If your car's got 1/4 of a fuel tank in it and you're going somewhere and you know you're going to go somewhere, fill it up, mate. We've been doing this for 50, 60 years. So
cars change a lot. The idea of putting petrol in them really hasn't.
Yeah. I feel very, very sorry for the individuals who are having to queue for hours on end only to get there and find that there isn't any fuel, who need this to make a living, people with, normal jobs, normal everyday folk like you or me who are, have to go and see patients or clients or move their van full of materials to somewhere, or lorries that need to transport stuff, or buses that need to move us all around, or ambulances that need to go and save people, or police cars that need to come to petrol stations to break up the goddamn fights that are happening in sodding forecourts because it turns out we all behave like animals and we've got absolutely no community spirit left. And so we don't think about the person next door that might need petrol more than we do at this given moment in time. We're thinking only selfishly of ourselves. So well done. That is my personal opinion on this. It does not reflect the general views of Is It Fast Media. But I'm telling you now, I'm getting more and more like Nick Ferrari every day. This is not the way to behave, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're in a queue and you need petrol, I'm sorry, this doesn't apply to you. But if you are getting £10 of petrol because you need to go down B&Q at the weekend, but you've actually got 3/4 of a tank already in there, don't.
Shame on you. Yes.
You're an inconsiderate arse. You should know better.
I genuinely don't know what the what the biggest threat to the UK road network is right now, whether it's the fuel crisis, the protesters on the M25, or Katie Price. It's really difficult wherever we look at it. I also heard that there's a common sense shortage. We should probably try and get some out there. It's honestly just it is just kind of baffling. I don't know if you've seen the best tinfoil hat theory that's doing the rounds right now. If I may kind of paraphrase this, the government have done this, so it's all their fault, to get rid of surplus fuel stock.
I've heard this.
That they no longer, that they don't have the expense of destroying the out-of-date fuel that was obviously accumulated during lockdown, everything like that. So now they can fill the pumps with this inferior E10 fuel, which is going to destroy your older car, so we'll have to buy a new one.
Right. Okay.
It's so crazy. It might be true. I don't know.
It's plausible. Do you know what? I am a fairly open-minded guy. I think fairly. I think doing this segment on this show we're only doing this so we can tell people that are in a dire situation who need fuel that it's okay, that you're not on your own thinking that people are selfish and that they're being driven to it because of whatever it might be, false information, lack of information, fear, panic. I get it. You know, the world has been a very scary place for the last 2 years, probably, well, actually, you know, for longer than that, but I get it. Tell us in the comments, why do you think there's no fuel? Why do you think the fuel crisis has arrived? Is it a fuel crisis? Is it the government getting rid of all the out-of-date fuel so that they can fill it up with this other kind of fuel that's going to trash your car, which means you'll have to get another car, which is good because somebody somewhere will benefit, but definitely not you. And that's it. I don't know. We'll get through it.
And essentially, right now, that we have got people driving around wasting petrol looking for petrol.
Yeah, a good friend of mine drove to 13 petrol stations to try and find petrol. And the irony is he ran out of petrol finding it. And I'm not sure he needed to do that. But it is what it is. Stick together. Look out for your neighbours. Look out for your friends and family. If you don't need to fill your petrol tank because you don't have anywhere to go, don't go and do it. And just be a good person. And if you are if someone's being a silly person on a forecourt and you want to lamp them, don't lamp them. Everyone's stressed out. It's fine. It's fine. We'll get there and it's fine. That said, if anyone has any fuel, can you send it to PO Box? Is it fast? 86 to 90, floor 3, Shoreditch. I would love to have some because we're running quite low. so that would be good. I will accept it in the mail.
I think that's fair, yeah. And also, we actually have to give the government some credit here. They brought forward the plans to get all petrol-driven cars off the road from 2030 to about Tuesday next week.
It's working, boys.
It's well done, honestly.
Yeah, right to your local MP in Winge.
Yeah. Hi, Craig McKinley. Hope you're well. I know he listens in. Doesn't listen when we do contact him. I don't think he tunes in for this.
Amazing. And on that hyper rant,
can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry. One more thing, sorry. Did you see the journalist at the BBC News sent to report the fuel shortage? Phil McCann. His name's Phil McCann, and they've sent him to report on jerry cans being filled up. I'm sorry, that's brilliant. Thank you, BBC. That was a ray of sunshine in my day.
That is every now and again, you know, faith in humanity does indeed get restored. I feel so. That was quite a cathartic rant. That was. I'll be honest. Tell us in the comments. How are you feeling about the fuel crisis? I don't know if I want to read them, but it's, you know, try and keep it clean and be kind to each other. And on that note, something spectacular happened this weekend. Love him or hate him, the best Formula One racing driver of all time must now surely be Sir Lewis Hamilton. Over the weekend at the Russian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton picked up his 100th Formula One Grand Prix victory. It's never been done before. His first victory there, look how young he is. His first victory was at the Canadian Grand Prix in 2007. Of course, he probably shouldn't have won it. I think it's fair to say Lando Norris, he was leading pretty much all the way. It was a bit of toing and froing with Carlos Sainz and the pack. Then the heavens opened 3 or 4 laps from the end, and there is Mr. Lando Norris. Basically just couldn't keep the car in a straight line. But as we head off to Turkey, which is where the next Grand Prix is going to be in October, it's all to play for. The championship is all to play for. Lewis Hamilton, 100 wins. That took him head and shoulders above everybody else ever in the history of the sport. It takes him top of the championship for this year, just ahead of Mr. Max Verstappen, who managed to get up to second. But I think regardless of what happens this year, regardless of how you feel about him or whether there's all sorts of opinions out there. People don't like people who win. People don't like successful people. And sure, he's probably had a couple of instances over his career where you think that's a bit naughty, but that's what winners do. They win. So Lewis, congratulations from everybody here at Is It Fast. You might watch, you might not. I bet you don't. What an achievement. That's 100 pole positions, 100 Grand Prix wins, 7 world championships. He's completed the most laps of anyone in the lead ever. He's accumulated the most championship points of anyone ever. Will he be topped?
Well, we all sat there kind of saying Schumacher will never be beaten. Obviously, Lewis passed that in last October. Shuey on 91 wins. Lewis Hamilton now on 100. Interesting little stato for you, if I may. The rest of the field combined only had 106 wins.
Really?
So Lewis Hamilton is literally head and shoulders above. Might not be having the best season. No pole for him at the weekend. No worries. He's got the fastest car right now. No worries. Genuinely, what a champion.
Yeah.
Love him or hate him, no one can deny what he's achieved in the sport, and that feat will take a lot to be beaten. And dare I say, it might never.
You just don't know. I mean, I know the Grand Prix calendar has got more races in it now than it did historically, so there's more opportunities physically to win them. 23 race season, I think it is this year. So it's the longest season ever. Then you go back in time, and it was 20 races and 15 races and all the rest of it. So maybe if Fangio had managed to, have that many races, or maybe if, Senna, God bless his soul, if he'd managed to, race for his entire career and also in quite a packed
Jackie
calendar.
Stewart as well.
Jackie Stewart,
another sir. There you go.
Another sir, yeah. I mean, they're all, it's Jim Clark, all taken far too soon. But yeah, I don't know how I don't envisage it being beaten. But then in my lifetime, we've had Schumacher and we've had Hamilton, when maybe the third one is yet to be coming, you just don't know. Could be Russell, could be Lando, could be someone that's currently in the F2, could be someone who's just gotten into a kart for the first time at the age of 12 or something and is zooming around and doing that. Who knows? But I think no matter who you support, what era of Formula One is your favorite, it's really hard to deny that this chap is probably the best that's ever been. Certainly from and do you know what? I reckon he's all right. I reckon he's a cool dude, really.
Yeah, he seems to get a lot of bad press, and it tends to be the stuff he does off the racetrack. Now, we're not going to open this debate here. However, there seems to be a lot of people out there that feel just because you're in the public eye, you shouldn't have an opinion on certain things. Stick to what you do, that side of things. Guys like this can open doors for larger causes and can open questions as well. That is a very important role that he has away from his life, which is essentially a profession.
It's a job, man. It's a job.
Yeah.
He just happens to be very good at his job, possibly the best that's ever done his job ever. Which is a weird. That's a weird when you describe it like that. It sounds quite strange, doesn't it? Like this geezer is
Speak
the
for
best.
yourself. I reckon I'm probably the best podcaster ever. So
Okay, well, I mean, you know,
certainly top
Yeah.
2.
you're the top in the top 2 Stuarts on this current podcast. Yeah, I agree.
Thanks. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, I try. Yeah, silver medal. It swaps, so it's interchangeable. Lewis Hamilton, 100 Grand Prix wins. Tell us in the comments. Love him, hate him. It doesn't matter. Is he the best that has ever been? And is he the best that ever will be? It's such a tough thing to be. And he hasn't finished yet. He's still going. This is the thing. Crazy. So there we have it, Mr.
And
Sir
what are we
Lewis.
looking at? Probably 6-7 races left this season.
I think there's 6.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I lose track, I'll be honest. I think there's 6 or 7.
But he's got a
he-
mapp giap on Verstappen right now. What was it? 2 points.
Huge 2-point gap. Yeah.
He'll never catch that. No.
Yeah. I can't call it. Tell us
It's
in the
going to be
comments.
exciting.
Who do you think's going to win this year's championship? Because, 2 races ago, Verstappen. Now, who knows? Who knows? It's 7 left. We have got a comment. Thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew.
We have 7 left. So I was nowhere near. Appreciate that. So who's going to take the title? Matthew, maybe you know. Give us a heads up. If you can tell us who's going to win the 2021 World Championship, and if you can include the lottery numbers in that, that would be perfection in
and
car.
where we can get some petrol, please.
And where we can get some petrol. Jesus. Oh, dear. I love cars that are silly. I love cars with no roof sometimes. And I love Catrion. And this is why.
I'm not gonna lie, dollar hat on a Yagi, her brain fried. My lady poppin' Zanny, other lady popping Molly, why she waiting on me? Yogi my area, yogi my area.
Ooh. I mean, that is just, doesn't that just give it some? I love what Caterham are doing. And they have released that very, very snazzy piece of video because they have given us a new model. And I say that in inverted commas because Caterham, did they ever really give us a new model? Well, for the purposes of this argument, the answer is yes. So what you've just watched there and what you're currently seeing on your screens right now is the release of the brand new Caterham 170R and 170S. That's why there's 2 cars in that video. So what is relevant about this? Well, it is the lightest production car on sale at 440 kilograms. It's definitely the lightest production Caterham yet. Which is pretty scary stuff. Marks the return of the 660 cylinder 660 cylinder. There's a lot of words cylinder there. Turbocharged Suzuki engine back into the Caterham range. It disappeared a couple of years ago while they were kind of tinkering with the range in total. But it's now back, and there is good sound reason for that. It is used, this particular engine, in these 170R and 170S, in K cars that are little tiny cars in Japan to meet inner city regulation. So what that means is that the 170 is technically in Japan a key car. And that is relevant because, bear with me, the company VT Holdings used to distribute Caterhams in Japan. VT Holdings have since bought Caterham and now have a key car of their own that they can sell in Japan. So when you put all the dots together, you've got a Japanese company that has bought Caterham and it is now easier to sell Catrions in Japan, and certainly to have an inner city in the inner cities in Japan, because they're very crowded. So engine sizes and car sizes are somewhat smaller. And there you go. You've got the 170R, the 170S. I got there in the end. What do we think of the 170?
I absolutely love this. I think it's fantastic. Do you appreciate 60 kilograms lighter than the original Lotus 7 as well?
That is interesting.
23 grand for it in kit form. For that kind of cash, I probably want someone who actually knows what they're doing to build it for me. I've got to be honest. I don't think like letting any Tom, Dick, or Harry with a spanner to try and build a road car is the most sensible thing going. And I've always kind of wondered as well, how do they sell these cars unassembled and then make sure that they comply with kind of safety and crash standards?
Yeah.
Anyone put it together? I don't know.
I don't know, but I think I know. So before I say this, jump in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Kit cars, what the heck?
Come on, Matthew, save us.
Yeah. Yeah. So you put it arrives in a crate. There's my first assumption. You put it together in your garage and or shed. And then I think you have to take it somewhere.
Yeah, you must do, sure.
And then you get, but what I do know is if you can spot a kit car on the street because their license plates all start with Q. And that is a fact. So if you see a car on the street and their license plate starts with Q, whether it's old, whether it's new, whatever, that is a kit car. And that's why you get a jump in reg numbers. So you can get a P reg when you bought it new, get an R reg, can't get a Q reg. So
thank you very much, Stuart. I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah. And I don't know why I know that, but I do know it. It seems to be something that popped into my head. So the Catrion 170R, it's interesting from a cultural perspective because it's easier to sell in Japan and Catrion's new owners are Japanese. So there's an interesting thing. But also it's a Catrion and Catrions are awesome.
They really just are awesome. Okay, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a fraction of the power that the Atom offers, but it'll still do like top speed 100 miles an hour, can get to 60 in about kind of 6.9 seconds, that type of thing for it.
That's all you need.
But it's got a certain charm to it, doesn't it? Yeah, of course, you've got to dress like Biggles to be able to drive the thing. But that's okay. This car is for fun. We've got enough humdrumnicity. I'm sure that's a word. If not, I'm going to patent it in our lives. Something like this is to be enjoyed. So, yeah, if you can get your hands on one, go for it. It looks awesome.
I love them. I've driven that track that they're on there as well, and they've done a good job to make it look so interesting. I love them. I think they're great. Desperate to own one at some point. Catrions are a little bit kind of, they're a bit like Porsches and a bit like old Range Rovers, in the sense that they kind of all look the same. And then you get to learn about them, and then you realize that all the different models are just super, super different. So, I love that Catrion have done this. I really, really do. And that they're going to. This is a sign that they're going to keep doing what they're going to do. When they got bought by a new owner, you kind of always worry a little bit. Oh, what's going to happen here? But those owners have obviously shown that they're interested in what happens with Catrion. They're obviously fans and advocates for the brand. Otherwise, why would they buy them? And they were already importing them into Japan for 20 odd years, I believe. So that is a positive thing. But tell us in the comments, what do you think of the new Catrion 170R with 660 cc engine and a 3-cylinder turbocharged block that will still be just as fun? Let's be honest, you're driving around in something that should really be at Toad Manor. And that's the fun of it, I think, if I'm honest. I think that's the whole point. And that brings me beautifully to probably not the strangest thing I've ever seen. I've seen some weird stuff, but brings me on to some interesting car stuff. We are in a automotive world where we love bringing things back from the past. And that is exactly what this reinvention is doing. This is a company called Alvis. And if you haven't heard of them, I don't blame you. Alvis produced cars mainly before the war and then a little bit after, but like lots of great car brands, they went away. But this is what they're calling continuation models. So they're hand building from the original plans and specifications cars from their back catalogue, essentially. So this is the Alvis Grabber Super Coupe, made in Kenilworth. There's a good place for making stuff. It's got a 3-litre straight six engine producing 172 brake horsepower, 209 pounds a foot of torque, 0 to 62 in a time of 8.9 seconds. They're also doing a cabriolet, as you can see there. It's going to be relatively cheap, starting from £323,000. They're not making a lot of them. And weirdly, the first example of this is going to Japan. So someone in Japan has ordered these and they're going over. So the first one of these is going to Japan, the coupe, and the other 5 that they're going to make are also expected to be shipped to Japan. And then they're going to, Alvis are going to shift focus, move to another model, which is the cabriolet that we saw earlier. And that's going to be shipped to the Far East in 2022 as well. And then they're going to do something called the Lansfield pre-war 4.3 litre car as well. So bringing back the good old days of British manufacturing. Alvis and the Grabber, it's probably pronounced Grabber Coupe,
Grabber.
And then eventually the Grabber Cabriolet. What do we think of this?
Oh, this is just beautiful, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Almost a bit like the classic Aston Martin DB5.
Yeah, all the
got a
same
real
era.
kind of Bond look to it.
All the same era.
Absolutely beautiful. But I've got to stop you there. How much?
I have it here. £323,000.
I do want to point out that you can get 50 free Citroen Amis for that.
Fair play.
This is how we'll measure things from now on. Well, it's good, but how many Citroen Amis can you buy for that? Would be an interesting way. You know what, though? It just looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? It's looked beautifully made inside and out, real old fashioned. I think the only kind of mod cons that they've got is a bit of air conditioning inside it.
Yes, they haven't added aircon.
Yeah. All aluminium bodywork, looks stunning up front. Something they did mention in the press release, though, was the engine runs faultlessly. You're like, that's a kind of a strange thing to say in a press release. You'd kind of think that'd be a given, especially if you're spending like over £300,000 on a car. It's like, I'm happy for it to conk out on me occasionally. Yeah, no bother.
But this is what they're doing, right? Manufacturers and I must admit, I don't know a lot about Alvis. I've had a really busy few days. I've not read the entire press brief, but laziness incarnate. Thy name is Stuart. But
I'm glad I'm here to hold the show together. I've got
honestly, you are the glue that keeps it all together.
Gosh, can you imagine?
But isn't it? Yeah. Well, you're watching it. So Jag did this where they took a kind of original car parts of a number of their cars a couple of years ago and then built them. And so they were new cars, but from the 50s and 60s. This is a kind of similar take on that, where they're using all the original plans and all the rest of it and putting this together. It's going to be, it's a specialist project. It's 300 grand plus. Kind of makes sense to me because it's taking many skilled craft people quite a lot of time in a shed in Kenilworth putting this together. It takes time and it takes labor and it takes skill and it takes love and understanding, and it's going to be a special kind of person that's going to buy this at the end, and therefore it's going to cost a lot of money. When you're churning out 7, 8, 9, 10,000 Ferraris and you're asking essentially the same cost, I'm not so sold. So, it's a very cool thing indeed. But what we really want to know, as always, is this the car for you? Tell us in the comments. Is the Alvis Grabber Super Coupe £323,000. Is it the car for you? You can't buy it. It's already got a buyer. Don't worry about it. You probably never see it on the street because it's off to pan. But what a cool thing. Tell us how you feel about all of these weird and wonderful things that we're now getting in the car world. I enjoy it as an enthusiast, and I hope you do too. And as enthusiasts, it is one of these things where, as a motorsport enthusiast, I like to keep up with all the latest results from my favorite motorsport championships. And thanks to the app and website Results Hub, you can now do that.
Results Hub, all motorsport results, all in one place. And now there's an app. Take results with you on the go as we bring you the latest standings from championships around the world. And there's more. Use the app to see who is racing and where with our handy calendar feature. Download the app now. Results Hub, all motorsport results, all in one place.
All motorsport results, all in one place, thanks to Results Hub, an application you can use on your iPhone, an iOS device, and also a website you can use on your website thingies. So Results Hub, absolutely lovely. Go ahead and download it. It's completely free. It won't be forever, so I'd recommend that you do Results Hub. That was nice.
And
I
nice
enjoyed
chaps too. They've got a real
Yes.
passion for what they do. I think that's
Yes.
worth pointing out.
It is. They are.
Yeah.
It comes from a place of pure passion, and that's what you want. Motorsport stuff from motorsport people. But it is time to move away from motorsport and away from all things car, kind of, because what time is it?
TikTok time.
It is time for Tik Tok. Every single week, we scour the internet for what is going on in the watch world because, like a good motor vehicle, watches have to run smoothly. So there's the connection. This week, we are bringing you a Bond-themed Swatch. Oh, it's two fellas running around London pretending to be Bond. First it's one guy, then it's the other. This is, as you can tell from that short feature there from Swatch, a watch that is celebrating the fact that No Time to Die, the Bond film, which I know I'm very excited about, is hitting cinemas finally after all the postponements and everything else that has been going on. Is now coming back to the world. So there he is, looking happy, walking along the embankment there. The Swatch model is the Swatch X0072Q watch. Is that?
Yes.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you're
and it's 186 quid, I think. What do we think?
You know what? I really like it. It's
Me too.
The perfect watch when you want the Bond lifestyle, but you've got the affordability money management of a henchman. This also features in the film. You will see Q, Ben Whishaw, wearing this watch or a version of this watch in the film. And for 186 quid, it's pretty good. All right, slightly cheaper than the Omega Bond that we looked after the other day. But Q, everybody's favorite gadget man, maybe apart from Inspector Gadget or Data from the Goonies. It's just a nice way to be able to have something involved in what early reviews say is a fantastic film. I do like the Swatches. Simple, minimalistic design. You get what you get here. It looks great. Worth saying as well, the presentation box. Don't know if you've seen this.
Yes, I have seen this. It's very cool.
Very cool. In the shape of a laptop that you open up in a much larger size. Very, very nice touch. And leather strap on it as well. Something that you don't often get on the old Swatches. They tend to stick with the rubberized or plastic straps. I like it.
I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I think it's nice that there's an alternative to the $7,000 Omega Seamaster, which is fine. It's got its place. I like it. I'd have it. I'd wear it. I like this as well. I think this is it's not too Bond in your face. Swatch, always cool with me. I think Swatch do some amazing stuff. I've got one. I know you've got a fair few, and I love them. So yes, well done. I think it's a great watch. Didn't need to be tied into the film, but I'm glad that it is. Well done, Swatch. But tell us in the comments, what do you think of the Swatch Cross 007 2Q? Because it is going to be in a film cinema near you soon. I believe at time of filming in a couple of days or in a day tomorrow.
I think it's... They had the big premiere last night. I think it's out in the cinema tomorrow.
And just a shout out to Curzon Cinemas, who are, I think the first showing of Bond is at 7 minutes past midnight, so 007.
I
Something
like
like I enjoyed that a lot. I saw that earlier. So shout out to Curzon. I'm going to watch it at Curzon. Yeah, I'll take a photo out the front if you give me some free popcorn. So there you go.
It's a bit past my bedtime. But...
yeah, I'm not watching it first day. I'll wait for a week and just get it done. So that's all good. We're going to move on to some grown-up news. So if you're not interested in grown-up stuff, turn off now. But please don't. Ease off. He's gone. Every now and again, things happen within the automotive industry that are worth pointing out because there is a chance in the future it will have an impact on your buying options or on how technology works. And the news from Polestar, Volvo / Geely is exactly that. So this week, Geely announced that their investment in Polestar is going to increase. So Volvo and the Chinese car maker Geely are co-founders of Polestar. They have got a new agreement in place to put an additional $600 million, 440 million pounds, into Polestar. So Volvo Geely are going to retain 50% of the company. And then they're going to use I won't bore you with the semantics, but a special purpose acquisition company is going to have and put in another £584 million. And what that means in reality is they're raising a load of money to be able to make more cars like this. So they're going to be adding brand new cars to the lineup, 3 new EVs over the next 3 years. A Polestar 3, which will be a large SUV, apparently, will come next year. Firm is also working on production of a version of a kind of saloon concept. So all to go alongside the Polestar 1, which will pretty much phased out now, and then the Polestar 2, which I personally love. 10,000 Polestars were sold globally last year, which I think during the course of a global slowdown is not a bad return for quite a niche car, and is also relatively expensive. Pretty pricey. Good monthlies though, I've been told. So yes, this is the news that Volvo and Geely are doing some financial wizardry, pumping a load of money in, possibly listing it on the New York Stock Exchange to get more money so that it can build a bigger range of cars, which are going to be better for the environment. They're aiming to have a total carbon neutral built car by 2030, which I think is a really good thing. So there we go. Tell us in the comments, does this make any difference to you? Tell us in the comments. It's all financial stuff, but it's good news because there's going to be more cars for us to choose from in the future.
Yeah, this brand just really seems to have great potential, and it's continuing to grow. Certainly the way the automotive industry is definitely going. So companies like Geely, Volvo are kind of claiming nice and early their stake.
Yep.
Nice way to put it. I'll be honest, I don't overly get into the financial and ownership side of the cars. I was kind of tying myself in knots trying to figure out
It's quite a
Polestar,
complicated one.
Volvo, Geely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, more manufacturing. I do really like the Polestar car that was just on screen there. Very nice.
Yeah. So there you go. All we need to know is that £1 billion is basically going into Polestar over the next few years by the looks of it. So they are backing that quite the thing. But tell us in the comments, have you considered buying a Polestar? Are you interested in a Polestar in the future? And if you are, is the fact that they're going to be adding even more Polestar branded Polestars to their lineup something that will make you get off of your rear and purchase a Polestar? That's
And
the interesting.
Just for a quick disclaimer, we're not talking about that type of Polestar. We're talking about the car. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we're talking about the Polestar car, not the Polestar called Cindy. So just so we're completely and totally clear. And we finished this week. I'm moving swiftly on. And we finished this week with fresh news from the best luxury car manufacturer in the world, Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce announced today that they are going to go all electric from 2030, which seems to be the standard date. Next year after, 2023, you might be able to get your hands on something that looks a little bit like this. This is the Rolls-Royce Spectre. It is the very first EV that Rolls-Royce are giving us. This looks like the prototype based basically on a Rolls-Royce Wraith, but they're telling us that it's going to be all new platform. It's not going to be shared platform. Rolls-Royce, for those of you who don't know, is owned by BMW Group, and they're saying it's not going to be based on the i4 platform. It's not going to be based on the BMW i3 platform. It is going to be a brand new luxury platform developed by them to reflect accurately what they stand for and what they do. And to kind of prove that, the writing that you can see there, that is taken directly from a quote by one of the original Rolls-Royces back in the day. And it is: strive for perfection in everything that you do. Take the best that exists and make it better. And when it does not exist, design it. And I love that. It's the first time I've ever actually seen that quote, and I think it's something to live by, but actually makes a lot of sense when you're thinking about Rolls-Royces, Rolls-Royce. I also appreciate that it's called the Spectre during this week of all weeks where James Bond is being released in cinemas soon, which is really exciting for me. So there we go. We'll ignore the fact that in the original James Bond, he drove a Bentley. Not a Rolls-Royce, and actually not an Aston Martin either. But there you go. The Rolls-Royce Spectre, and they're going to go fully electric by 2030, and you'll be able to get your hands on a Spectre from 2023. What do we think before we go?
I really like it. Apparently, these images are not placeholders. This is not a prototype. This is the real thing.
You reckon?
Yep, that's what they seem to be saying. It's already on-road testing. Apparently, what I would say, you hit the nail absolutely in the head with regards to it being basically similar in size and shape to the Wraith for it. Spectre, there are Bond film behind. There might not be a lot of call for a car with the word die in the title. Do you know if this is going to be available without all the writing over it, though? However much it's a cool quote. But
I don't know if you'd want it without the writing, personally. I think that's what makes it. If it's okay, well, if you're telling me that this is not a prototype, this is essentially their testing car, and it's not just a Wraith with spray paint on it, then fair enough. But cool. I think it's cool. Everyone's going in the same direction, and Rolls-Royce clearly have to be the same. One thing I will put my reputation, of which I don't have a lot of, on the line, is I bet it's brilliant. I bet it's brilliant. I bet it's, the big question with electric Rolls-Royce has always been, in my mind, electric cars are quiet, and Rolls-Royce have always been quiet in a world where engines haven't always wanted to be quiet. And so I find it really interesting how Rolls-Royce are going to take that already quiet platform and make it even more. I think it lends itself to the luxury that is Rolls-Royce even more. It's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited about it, like legitimately. And I'm not a massive Rolls-Royce fanboy, but I do like the Wraith. So if you're watching Rolls-Royce and you want to give me a Wraith for a bit, I'll take it. But yes, this is it. Tell us what you think. The Rolls-Royce Spectre, the first EV in the brand's history, brand new platform, doesn't share anything with BMW, brand spanking new. Tell us in the comments what you think of this. And with that, it had this show has flown by today. I think a lot of the time, there's quite a big chunk of time moaning about petrol. Sorry about that. But thank you very much as always for watching us, whether you're watching us live or you're watching us after the fact at your leisure on any one of our Is It Fast platforms where you can watch us any time. Thank you very much for being part of our weekly journey where we pick the best stories from the last 7 days and talk about them. You're welcome. Thank you as always to my co-host, Other Stu.
Thank you once again for having me, Stu.
I'm contractually obliged to have you here, but even if I wasn't, I would still have you here. And I leave you with this parting request. Please do follow us on your social media platform of choice. Makes a huge difference to what we do. Makes a massive difference to my general mood. And follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I promise you, you won't regret it. Not only do we do this live, what is essentially becoming more of a therapy session, but we also cover live motorsport, highlights from some of the weirdest and wonderful motorsport championships in the world. We have all sorts of weird and wonderful guests, mainly wonderful, who come on and share their stories of their car world and their motorsport journeys, as well as car reviews. We do a lot on Is It Fast, so please do follow us. We would love you for it forever. Terms and conditions apply. But until next week, thank you very much for watching, and we shall catch you next time.
Thank you very much.